Welcome back to Foundry Fast Lane. I'm Connor, and today we'll be completing the learn.palantir.com course, Deep Dive, Creating Your First Data Connection. By the end of this course, we'll be able to source data from where it actually lives, whether that's in your relational database like a SQL table, whether that's in an S3 bucket, or even within a REST API call. Ready? Let's jump in.
As always, navigate to learn.palantir.com/deep dive data connection. This is the course we'll be following along with throughout this lesson. A quick level set on the use case here. Really, all Palantir Foundry implementations will revolve around data connections. This is a foundational piece in connecting your company's data with the tool itself. In this lesson, we will be learning how to connect to relational databases like SQL tables, S3 buckets, and how to use REST APIs to pull in data. These three scenarios cover the bulk of data ingestion use cases that we'll need to think about right now, and will lay the foundation for how you can establish data connections at your own company or your group. So if I scroll down here, we will see a kind of systems map of the three connections that we will be establishing in this course. One thing to note is this course requires you to have kind of specific, almost admin level roles in your Foundry tenant. So ensure you have these permissions required assigned in control panel. If not, reach out to your Foundry admin. Without further ado, let's get started. To start with the end in mind, let's take a look at the output of this course. We'll have three data connections configured between SQL, REST API, and S3 bucket. These three connections allow us to plug in with the actual source of our data for our business. To begin, let's navigate to Control Panel to check if we have the necessary permissions. You can do this by coming to Search, look up Network Egress, and if you're able to make changes here, then you likely have the correct permissions needed for the course. If this is grayed out, then reach out to an admin. So since we have access here, we can continue, or we can navigate back. As always, if you don't have a project already, create one for learning. And once you're in your learning project, let's create our course project. So click New Folder, call this Deep Dive, Creating Your First Data Connection. Jumping back to the training, one thing I want to touch on before we get into the actual build here is the difference between direct connection and agent proxy. So as you can see here, direct connections are for any sort of connection that you could create for your data that can be accessed via the internet. These are quite easy to configure and set up, where on the other hand, agent proxies almost have an agent as a middleman between the company's secure data, whether that's on-prem or something, and the Foundry cloud. So that agent proxy is the middleman that takes the data, kind of encrypts it, and sends it on its way to Foundry so it can still be securely utilized in the Foundry platform. For our first data connection, we are going to focus on Cloud Object Storage Solution. In the demo, we'll do an AWS S3 bucket, but this is the same across most cloud storages, if not very similar. Jumping back into Foundry, let's hit Control-J and navigate to Data Connection. You'll see this platform app here, select it. That will load us into data connection. You'll see in here from my last run at this that we have three connections created already. That's for my last run, and this demo will be creating three more. You'll see you have your sources, syncs, agents, and external stacks. Really, data connection is the platform app where you will manage all of your data sources. So where your data is being routed from in your different applications or databases, and how that is syncing with Foundry, as well as your agent of sync. To get started, let's click New Source. Here, we will select our source type. For now, we're going to look for S3. However, you can see that there's out of the box a ton of supported connections here. DocuSign, Databricks, eBay, giant names here. For example, even some of the smaller names for CRMs and ERPs like Zoho is shown in here, to which I'm actually doing on a side project a Zoho integration to my company's Zoho projects, which is housing all of our project data, hourly consumption, who's allocated to what in terms of my employees, and also plugging into our CRM, connecting these two data sources to give actionable insights for management. For now, let's just stay on topic here and stick to S3. Here, we can scroll through the overview, click continue. Let's give this a name here, of course. From the training, it's recommended data connection training S3, and I'm just going to add Connor demo in all caps. As always, we need to select a project to save this in. So select the folder we created. Mine is demo deep dive, creating your first data connection. Create, source, and continue. Next, let's point this connection to the correct location. We have been provided a training URL here and a region for that. So let's go ahead and enter that in. Take the URL directly from the training and the region. This endpoint will stay as default. Next, we will provide our authentication details taken from the training. In credentials, we'll select access key and secret for key ID. Take from here, same with secret. Next, given our direct connection, we need to set up our egress policy. You'll see it's suggesting a network egress policy from my last time I did this course, but for demo purposes, we will recreate a new policy. For people maybe newer to data governance and some of this IT specific verbiage, let's just define an egress policy. So an egress policy is a security rule that controls and restricts outbound traffic, like data leaving a network, to ensure that only authorized and safe communication with external destination occurs. Pretty much defining our rule set for how Foundry can receive data from this data connection. And I guess also of note is that it's not just this data connection, it's an egress policy for all like data connections. So anything that's similar for Cloud Object. So to configure our egress policy, let's click this request and self-approve new policy. We will keep this as direct connection and navigate to the training for our DNS. Enter our DNS. Let's make sure we give this a name, S3 training. We can keep our port as single port and 443 and click next. Next, we can click request and self-approve this policy. Click the blue save and continue button, continue without adding. Here, we're going to need to select our output folder. So we'll just click generate a new output. This will create a new folder called raw with the data from this data connection being outputted in that folder. Click continue. We aren't going to change anything in the export configuration. Click continue. Same deal for code imports. We're not going to mess with this. Click continue again. And lastly, before we leave here, let's actually just click explore. Give this a minute, as this may take a few minutes to sync all of your data. I received this configuration error, so let's debug. Let's click Generate AIP Explanation to see if we can make sense of this. Okay, this error indicates the specified host could not be found, suggesting that the connection to the required resource is failing due to a missing egress policy. So let's actually go ahead and launch this and see if we can get some insight. So now we opened up Control Panel. I can see here that my policy is approved as I did self-approve it. After further debug, I went to the network egress. It looks that I did just copy and paste this wrong. I just revoked the policy and I'm going to restart. Here, you'll see any applicable egress policies will show below. But for our demo, we're going to request and self-approve a new policy. If you already had one created for, let's say, another Cloud Object storage, you could just import that. We'll keep this on direct connection. Let's give this a name. I'm going to select S3 training demo. On DNS, we will copy in the DNS and we'll keep the single port on. Click next. We can keep the configure permissions the same and click request and self-approve. So now we'll see that we have an egress policy in direct connection pending approval. If I just remove this and then click use an existing policy, we should be able to select the one that you just created and you'll see approved. Actually click save and continue. Let's generate an output folder. That will be the raw folder here. That's just an automatically generated folder. Let's click through exports. We don't need to do anything in code import configuration. And finally, let's click explore. After a few minutes, you'll see a table has now populated. To actually sync this now into our Foundry versus just having this as a CSV, let's click sync only this file, the plus icon to the left, and click create sync for one data set. Now, what that's going to do, if I click open build details, is it's going to extract all of that CSV information from that plant downtime new CSV into a usable data set in that raw folder that was generated. So give us a couple minutes for the table to build and we'll check back in. Jumping back to our data connections, if we click the back icon here and navigate to edit syncs, this is where we'll be able to see all of the data syncs that occurred, and we can select how we actually want to configure a sync. We could have a schedule so that it happens daily, among other options. A daily schedule or hourly or even more so than that may be the most common scenario that we would run against, but for now that's all we need to dive into in here. Back into our plant downtime new CSV, we can see that our extract was successful. The sync was all good. Let's go look at that. So click the actions button and click open. This brings us into that raw folder that was generated under learning.conner.orzen. And now if I preview this data set, I can see the information. We can see here, however, that this is just when I preview, it's a CSV and it's not very organized in terms of being comprehensible by a data set. So let's just go ahead and click apply a schema. And now we can see that all of the columns have been broke out. And this is much more in line with the classic data sets that we've worked with in Pipeline Builder. That said, let's jump back into data connection, click back to the root level. I'll go ahead and just refresh this real quick so we can see my new Conner demo S3 connection. And now let's create a Postgres SQL connection. Let's jump back to the training and look at the visualization here. So in this scenario, we have a relational database that will be ingested by our Postgres connector according to our egress policy that we'll set up. And eventually we'll output a data set into our Foundry folder. Sound familiar? Yep, it is. Let's jump in and do this again. So back in data connection, click new source. Let's search for Postgres. We'll scroll down and click continue. For name and location, let's take the name from the training. I'll just edit Conner demo in here. For our project to save source in, let's just go ahead and select creating your first data connection. Click create source and continue. Next, for our connection details, we'll need to copy some information from the course. So we'll keep this select host type on host name and copy the various configuration details from the course. We'll keep our port set to 5432. We'll name our database name as Postgres. Coming down into authentication, copy in the username Postgres_user and the password here from the training. Next, let's set up our Postgres policy again. So let's click request and self-approved new policy. Give yourself a name here, or description rather. For DNS, let's bring that over from the training here in step 1B. Make sure we don't miscopy again. Control C. Here, we'll keep the single port set as 443. Click next. If it comes into something else, switch it to 443. And we'll click request and self-approve this policy. Next, let's configure our certificate. So click view more settings. We'll click configure server certificates. And then copy in from the training the alias as well as the certificate content. Now this comes from a text file at the bottom of this training. So scroll to the bottom, you'll see this downloadable file. You'll click download on this to actually get the file content, and then copy the contents out of that text file that it downloads and paste that into the certificate content. There we are. It should say begin certificate and end certificate. Click add. Lastly, let's change this to require under SSL mode and click save and continue. Click continue without adding. All right, same as last time, let's generate a new output folder. That's going to generate that raw folder, which already actually exists, so that we'll keep it like that for now. Click continue. Again, no changes in the export configuration, no changes in the code import configuration, and let's explore our data. Give this a minute to load in again. We've been prompted with a configuration error. So first, let's check the explanation. Click Edit Configuration. Let's jump back down to Connection Details. Let's click Request and Self-Approve New Policy. Next, we will create another direct connection. But this time, we're going to look for Postgres Training IP. We'll change our address to IP, and we'll type in 52.17120.168. We'll change the port from 443 to 5432. And then we can click Next. We will click Request and Self-Approve this policy. And we can go ahead and click Save once again. Now, if we come back to Output folder, this looks good. That seems to have fixed the issue. So if I jump over to Explore Source and click Plant Types, we will see this table of only 4 rows, but you get the gist. We have extracted from that Postgres SQL database into Foundry. Again, let's click Plants. We can see we have a larger data set here. Just like last time, let's click the plus icon to add a sink. Click Create Sink for one data set. You'll notice a green ribbon will pop up at the top of your screen when that begins. Once that does, click Open Build Details. And we can follow along with our dataset build within that raw folder. Check back in a few minutes when this is complete. Upon completion, let's click the hyperlink, and that will take us to that raw folder. We'll notice now we have a clean dataset of that data extract. Great. With that, let's jump all the way back to data connection. We'll click on Sources. If I click refresh, now I have my Connor demo one. Okay, with that, in the training, they have you set up the REST API connection. I'm actually, in this video, not going to cover that portion. I feel it's a little bit more complicated and warrants a separate dedicated video to cover the intricacies of API connections. However, let's take a step back and look at what we accomplished with our S3 Cloud Object connector and the relational database connector. So taking a look at our sources here, you can see the 2 Connor demos that we have. We can also jump over to syncs to see, oh, here's all of the syncs that we have ran. We can filter these on status for what's running, what's failed, and manage all of our data syncs. And if I click into one of these, let's say public plants, it'll take us back to that data set. If I go up a level to the raw folder, this is that folder that was automatically generated and contains all the data sets. Jumping into our project folder, you'll see the 2 data connections that are now linked within our deep dive, creating your first data connection. I hope this video was valuable, showing you how to configure a connector into your business's systems. I'll be honest, this is one of the less interesting videos that we've done so far, as it's kind of just configuring data connections. It's not really too hands-on with creating a cool interface or app for a user, but nevertheless, very important. With that, that concludes our deep dive creating your first data connection video. Remember to like and subscribe. See you next time.